Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to Random Shit. I got the Manic Genius in the building. Got Wally in here.
What's going
Got
on?
Amazing in here. And we got Phil. So before we jump into the topics, man, how's everybody doing?
Good. Can't
All right.
complain.
Phil, you still out here lifting the whole gym, man? You ain't out here killing yourself, man.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to be like Manic. He's been teaching me a lot. I've been in the gym working out with him, trying to maintain just to keep up with him. He's such a beast.
So what's he training you on?
I got you, bro.
Yeah, tomorrow he's training me on legs because him and I both know that my legs are the weakest out of the two. So I'm just trying to get on his leg strength, and once I get there, I'll be good. I'll be set.
Why am I
Bro, you
sensing
like-
sarcasm
you-
from you?
Nah, he's right there. Nah, he's really up there like that. So I'm gonna get him right. I'm gonna get him
Yeah.
right.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
So Phil's up there with you, Manic?
Yeah, he's right there.
Okay.
Well,
Wow.
actually, I mean, there's
I'll-
something.
I'll be-
I'll be honest. Like
don't gas
there's
me.
there's
I'm
there's-
weak, bro. Don't gas me.
there's definitely days where he's really up there. But I mean, legs is just one of those. The legs are just one of those muscle groups that when you don't work them out consistently or you just take a break, it's like you get a lot of muscle atrophy. So
Yeah, that's facts.
uh,
Absolutely.
yeah. Like I actually been taking a break myself lately. So I put money that he's got me in the legs right
Okay.
now. Like if we went to the gym right now, I guarantee you he could.
I
What
can't,
about,
even,
like-
I can't even entertain it anymore, man. I'm just like I'm trying, bro. I'm just like, this isn't working. I'm starting to laugh. I can't do it, bro. I'm sorry.
So you about to smoke him tomorrow? Phil, you about to smoke him tomorrow?
It's not even gonna be a smoke session. It's gonna be. I'm gonna say this. Everybody has a starting point, and once they get past their plateau, once they get past that first 2-3 weeks, their gains are so crazy. Like there's a kid right now that I've been training with. At first, he was weak as hell. Now he's stronger than me. So it's not hard. It's just about like repetition. The more you stand, the better you're gonna get. And I'm just trying to help Martin get to the point where he has his he's fast. He's always been fast. Like it's been a thing. And if he can get the leg strength on top of that, he'll give me a run for my money. I know that. That's why I'm only going to show him some of the things, not everything.
Oh, okay. It's like the sensei, like the karate movies. He ain't gonna show you the 5-finger death
Not
touch,
everything.
but you're gonna show him everything else.
Facts. Facts.
But all right, man, we'll go ahead and jump into the topic. So the topic today, and we're gonna be probably brief on this show because we're gonna start making them a little shorter and stuff. But today we're gonna talk about college reform and are college degrees still worth it? So
I
give
put
me
money.
one-
I put money that this is not going to be brief.
Probably not. We always say that, and then
It's gonna
it
be
always lasts longer. So
yeah. This is an intellectual conversation. So
no doubt. I got some intellects here, man. So we're gonna break it down. So all right, I'll go to Phil first. Do you think it's worth the time and the cost to get a college degree?
So it honestly depends on what you're after. There are certain jobs out there that don't necessarily require a job that you're making more than a doctor, more than a veterinarian, more than a lawyer. It all depends on the career field you're going in. For example, I did the intelligence field in the Army, and my 9+ years experience in the field is what got me the job that I have. All my experience that I have, is what got me is what literally got me there. My degree got me in the door. My experience is what got me hired. So not to say that, I know a bunch of different people that put themselves in such a debt situation. They're not actually making money for 10 to 15 years. And I support all the doctors and lawyers out there. Do your thing. But it's just, I honestly feel as though a degree is like that, that stepping stone. But then you'll look at a job application and be like, okay, we require 10 years experience or a master's degree, 20 years experience or a doctorate degree. So with hearing the options that they have, it's like, okay, people could argue like, I really don't want to do this. But in some professions, you have to have the degree. You can't go be a doctor with just, oh, I was an experienced person, doing my own thing. It all, like I said, it all depends on the field you want to do.
Okay. I'm gonna circle back to that because you said something. I do want to hash that out a little bit. So I'll go to Wally. Do you think it's worth the time and cost to get a college degree?
Pretty much. I think I agree with Phil with the same thing. It all depends on which one you're going for, honestly. But overall, just depending on which one you're going for, if you have passion for it or you're just looking at the overall opportunity, yeah, it would generally be optional. It would generally be the go-to because because you gotta think about it, right? Because I was hearing this on someone else's channel the other day, like more and more companies, they're starting to now hire people without degrees now, right? And I think the only reason why that's the case nowadays is because they're trying to lowball, they're trying to lowball their employees, and they're not trying to pay them as you would want to pay them, like if someone were to have a degree, give or take, however it may be. So just looking at that overall, because now you got to think to yourself, right? When you're coming on into someone else's corporation, now you have to ask yourself, well, how else do you evaluate your pay as what you would want to be paid if you're not having a degree overall, right? Because now it's like, well, what skills do you have when you came in to this versus learning the things when you was in, when you was in college. So I think that's one thing.
Okay. All right, amazing. Do you think it's worth the time and cost to get a college degree?
Overall, yes. As long as you pick the right degree, I absolutely do.
Right. Yeah, for me to tackle on this point, I feel the same sentiment as you guys. It depends, definitely career field, and like the cost. I think if you could get it for a minimal cost, I think it'd be worth it. But it definitely depends on like I said, the degree and the career field like you're choosing and stuff. I think you definitely got to line up like how much people get paid and stuff. What career fields are lucrative before you go out and you just spend an absurd amount of money. But I'll go ahead. I'll toss it to Man and Genius. Do you think it's worth the time and cost to get a college degree?
Yeah, I'm definitely going with the time and cost if you do it correctly. There's multiple ways to get to a destination, so college is absolutely a route to where you can earn more income, and it's not just about, because you don't learn as much like hard skills on the job in college. You learn more of the softer skills and like the habits and the socializing and networking, and that's an element that you can't be replaced without college. So college is absolutely a good thing if you pick the right degree and it's something that is going to give you the lifestyle that you want without getting in the hole, because we see a lot of people go out of state when it's completely unnecessary, because the rates are just jacked up crazy. But I'm sure we'll talk about rates later. I'll get into that.
All right, because everybody pretty much mentioned what's the right degree. So what would y'all say like is the right career fields people need to kind of look at, or should they be going into the, if they're taking out like student loans and debt and stuff? And I'll start with go ahead, man. I'll start with you first.
Okay, I was just gonna say the right degree is it's hard because it changes with the times. So you always want to be forward thinking when you think about what you want to do for the future, because it's not going to be where you are now. It's going to be where the whole world is in the future. So you have to future proof your your dreams and make sure that it's in a field that's that needs people, that pays a competitive salary, that can't be replaced with AI or other forms of technology. So really any degree that can give you your desired lifestyle based on the salary and that balance of not having to get into the hole too much.
All right. So let me ask you, Wally, what career fields would you say people need to like check out? if they are going to school to get a degree?
I mean, at the highest, if we're just looking overall, I think doctor, lawyer, tech field. I think those are like top 3 at best.
Okay. All right, amazing. What career fields would you say people need to be looking at if they're going to school
I
to
think
spend all their money?
STEM for sure. So your science, tech, engineering, and math. I also think the vocational and technical students, although a lot of them, ones I know anyways, a lot of them are certificate programs versus a degree programs. So I think there needs to be some sort of reform with that as well, where they do get that degree because they go to school. A lot of those tech students go to school just as long as an associate's degree person. So I think there needs to be some sort of transition there in general, but primarily STEM. I think a lot of like the sociologies, the psychologies, um, they're just not worth what their cost, what they cost. And actually, shout out to the social workers. March is National Social Work Month, and I know a ton of social workers. And a lot of them are barely highly educated, and that's the number one thing I hear from them all the time is they feel that they're not valued money wise for the work they do, and I would have to agree with that.
We disagree. No, I'm joking. But nah, all right, let me go to Phil. So Phil, what would you say is the top career fields that people should be going to school for?
I'm gonna be real with you. Scripting, coding, computer languages, the intelligence world. And I say that because that is where the world is going. But in terms of like which specific degree to get, most jobs don't care. They just want to see higher learning. You can have a general studies bachelor's degree. As long as it's a degree, you could have, there's a guy at my job right now who is a freaking, he's a registered nurse, but because he had a degree and the experience in the field, he was good to go. They could care less about him being a nurse. So it's all about just having that higher learning. That is it. That is what most people care about, is the higher learning aspect. And if you got the experience to back it up, it's a double-edged sword.
Phil, you said something earlier about like you got on because you had the experience.
Mhm.
So like, would you recommend to somebody pretty much that like make sure they're building up their experience while they're going to school, something like that?
Yeah, because I'll tell you this. There was a guy that came into our in our field, right? He had a master's degree, right, in the job, but he said he only had like 2 years experience. So the degree got him in there and they put him at a really decent position. The problem was when he actually had to execute and do the things that we do on a daily basis, he couldn't do it. His resume looked amazing, but the experience level that he had was not enough for the job. So while you're working, strongly suggest like doing some kind of an internship, doing anything that would like, if you're going to be working for like, natural disasters, go get a job at FEMA. You can say, hey, during my 4-year time, I spent every single summer working with FEMA. After that, I took an entry-level job just to do blah, blah, blah. So it's definitely required, I think, in any field, really.
Okay. And I'll open up to the rest of y'all. Do y'all think like with the cost skyrocketing, do you think like people need to start looking like different strategies? Like Phil's kind of saying, like maybe like an interning, maybe working while they go or something like that. So y'all can offer up any strategy. But I just want to ask if you think they need to switch, because I know like when we were growing up, it was mainly like you just go to school, you kind of chill out. You wasn't worried too much about working, then you went in the career field. But now, like what Phil's saying, I do see a lot of that where you do have to come with more experience, which I think a few of y'all mentioned it earlier, where it's just like I think they're switching out like some of the old school thinking where it was just like, oh, you get your college degree, you're in there, versus like you come in there, they want some experience. So anybody could jump in there first.
I think it's very dependent on the job. So for example, I work with a lot of graduate students because they need me to finish their clinical hours because I'm in healthcare. So a lot of them already have some sort of medical background. So I've worked with therapists, I've worked with nurses, of course. I have a background in nursing, but I also have my business degree and then like nonsense degree, honestly, that has served me for nothing, but I've I had to pay for it. So that's why I say you have to be very specific in what degrees you get, because I have one that's worth less. But I have three that I absolutely need for my specific job. But when I was working with this specific person, she has to do 135 hours with me. And she was just asking me literally the other day, what should she do? She wants to be in leadership. She's in her late 40s. And I told her it's not going to happen just because she gets a degree. So she's about to have her master's degree. And I was like, just because you get your master's degree they're not just going to put you in a leadership position. So we had talked through some strategies on, this is what you can do to open up those doors. And again, she has a medical, she's nursing, so she has an RN license. She has a bachelor's degree. She's working on a graduate degree. But I was like, just when you finish, you can't just, you can apply, but the possibility of them just hiring you in a position just because you have the degree is probably not going to happen. So I absolutely think you have to work through your schooling to get some sort of leadership experience. And that's what I told her. You can go to a nursing home, but you have to have something. You have to have some sort of leadership experience to advance.
Damn, you kind of crushed your dreams, huh?
Yeah, I was getting that vibe.
But what is she just like so far behind?
But
I mean, how'd you break it down to her? How'd you say
that's
it
exactly what pretty
That's
much.
not gonna happen.
I know her. So
Okay,
I'm
let me pretend. Okay, let me pretend I'm her. Miss Amazing, I really wanted this job. I want to get in leadership position. Like, how can I do it with my credentials?
You want me to be honest with you? This is literally what I said to her. Do you want me to be straightforward and honest with you? She said,
of course. That's why I'm coming to you.
And I said, they're not going to hire you just because you graduated. This is what
you said. Okay, you said it kind of nice. The way you said it when you were telling the story was like, I told her, no, you're not material based on your credentials.
Well, no. I told her, girl, that's not going to happen. I did say those exact words just because she was going.
So that's a lot worse than the way you tried to.
Yeah. You tried to brush it up a little bit.
Like, well, basically, looking at your.
Is it a lot worse, or just being honest?
Well, then we talked it through. Again, I know her. Like we worked together.
Two versions
years
of the
ago.
stories both came from you.
That's right. Two personalities, pretty much. You're spot on.
Two different stories.
So Amazing. Have you always been an asshole your whole life? Is that the vibe we're getting?
I've learned from the best.
So when she kind of crushed, or how she take that news? Because that is good. Sometimes you gotta tell the truth to people.
Yeah, she was like, she said it makes sense. And then she was like, so you think I should drop those other classes? And I was like, I'm not going to tell you to drop something. I don't think it's going to help you. So if you, pay for it if you want, but I wouldn't waste my time on it.
Okay. What's going on, Scam? How you doing? Thanks for pulling up.
Yeah, what's going on?
So I saw you earlier, man. I saw the argument. I was tuned in. But real quick, I'll toss the question to you. So do you think it's worth the time and cost to get a college degree?
Depends on the time, depends on the cost, it depends on the plan. I'll try to go in detail. An issue is, okay, first of all, a degree is one tool. That's it. There's things within the degree that are also tools, like internships, like going to college can help you with the internship, help you with the networking, help you with some of the stuff that's to your left and to your right. It does cost money and it can do a lot of things. And it is a tool to sit on your resume, meaning it's a fixed thing. It is what it is. And then you are another thing. So we can't just say the degree, worth it, yes or no. It's a whole package. If you wanted to be enlisted in the military, a degree is not going to really do that much for you because you can just go ahead and enlist. It might help you get to E78.
You'll be an officer.
Or if you go ROTC and the rest of it too. But if you just wanted to be enlisted, be airborne air assault, or if you know your field or be an entrepreneur in certain things, I can see how a degree can't help you. But it also possibly could help you. You can also build a network within college. Now you're alpha. Now you're such and such, or a member of one of the white fraternities, or met some people in SGA, or while you're in college, you met people who understood how a business worked. A big business going around in where I'm at in South Florida, college hunks. Some dudes in college started a moving company. Then they started recruiting some more, and it's big all through this area. You can say your degree didn't help you, but you built your whole business through college and hired a bunch of college students. So it's kind of a package deal. But I hear it in the conversation in the spaces. They're just using it because they're mad that women got more degrees than making money and whooping their ass. So they just want to hate on the degrees because the co-worker to the left and to the right is a woman and they're beating their ass all day. He asked for some booty.
Here we
She
go.
said no. There's some of that
Trying
going
to point to him. He's right.
I gotta
I
chime in real quick.
on.
I heard,
In that thing,
I heard something that was a bit off and a bit wrong when it came to the military. I have to jump in on that. So you having a degree in the military is not going to help you to become an E6 or an E7. You having a degree in the military is going to put you automatically at a specific rank. Not only that, but it's going to fast track you to become that first sergeant or that sergeant major or that CW5. So
you say it's not going to help you or is going to
I
help
think
you?
it is going to help you. If you're going to be an enlisted personnel, having a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, comparing yourself to other E8s or other E9s in the military, trying to make command sergeant major or anything else, that is going to completely separate you and give you a leg up in that situation. I know
Right.
that from experience.
Right. I'm saying if a person just wants to do their 20, just do 20 and get up out of there.
Right.
Spending 4 in college is probably not going to be worth it. Meaning they don't care. They're going to sit at E6,
Going to
20
be
get
worth it.
out.
Because
But no, I agree with what
after
you're saying.
20 years, you're not going to sit as an E6 or an E7 with a master's or a bachelor's degree. It's not going to happen.
Okay, let me explain it. I was in the Army. I only did 2 years.
Okay.
If I would have enlisted again, I would have only done those years. If I'd have had a degree, it wouldn't have mattered because I ain't gonna be here long term. I'm gonna get out and do something else. So it wouldn't matter if I got out as an E3. I didn't care about no E4, no E5. I didn't care about none of that.
Right.
So for that, it wouldn't have mattered. People trying to get to E7, E8, yes, degree is better, and they still got a life coming out on the outside. But meaning, the degree is what it is. If you know you want to drive trucks, if you know you want to do something specific in this exact lane, and a degree is not required, and it's not really that beneficial, like you want to do HVAC, a degree in art's probably not going to help you. You can meet some people, you can design something maybe. But I'm on both sides. I'm not saying the degree is useless, but I'm not saying it's no all be all. I'm saying the degree is just a tool.
I will see your 2 years and I'll raise you 10. I made it to E7, got out of the Army, but because I had a degree, I could have then made master, first, and sergeant major and completely separated myself. So I had to jump in because I think you may be misinformed when it comes to that. I'm just
No,
putting it out.
I think you're just confused. I think he's saying if you're looking short term, like when you come in, then it's not a big deal. But like I see what you're saying, Phil.
With a bachelor's
I
degree,
agree.
you're coming in as a specialist automatically. You're coming in as an E4 with a bachelor's degree. So you're automatically separating yourself from everybody. So it is a benefit to have a degree when you're coming in. That's what I'm saying.
I
get you
I
with
agree
that.
with that part. I agree with that part. Just like even when I was in, if I wanted to stay in, the 2-3 classes I took, those are, what do you call them? Correspondence point. The points that help you get promoted when it's time to make the cutoff.
Correspondence.
It counted for those points. But if I'm just getting my E3 and I'm getting out and I'm looking at the ETS date, I don't care about no degree. It ain't gonna help me. Or if I'm just do 20 and I'm good at being an E6, sitting and clicking a couple buttons, signing off on some paperwork, and all I want to do is retire and go move to another country and be lazy and get fat, degree would be useless.
All I'm saying is,
but I see your side and I do agree.
I'm just being real with you. If you 20 years in the Army, E6, you messed up. You messed up bad. Somebody in your career, you got multiple Article 15s. Like you should have been got kicked out after 20 years. That's what I'm saying. Having that degree is going to completely separate you from all of your peers. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, there's people I know did 20 and got out as E5.
Then along their career, they got in trouble. Period. They got in trouble without a doubt.
So they just didn't care.
Yeah, it was just because I see both. Because of Dusto, when did you get out? Around what time? 2000.
Yeah, I was 20 when I got out.
Okay, see that's the difference. Because I think in Phil's timeline, because Phil just recently got out, they're more focused on like education, where you know, that we came in, that wasn't the focus. It was like get your GI Bill and get out and you go to school. Versus, I think they're more educated now. You know, they're
Yeah.
using the system like
They won't
which
pay
they
us.
should.
Yeah, they won't paying us no money.
Yeah, because I got out
They
about
weren't paying us.
2003. I was like, man, I was in and out. So yeah, I was like, that's why I understand dust. Though I was like, man, this ain't no career for me. I'm getting my shit. I'm going.
I was making more on the GI Bill money in college. The old GI Bill paid more than I was making when I was active duty.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
that was a
no,
good
facts.
job. I
But
never
Phil-
made
Phil
$1,000
is correct.
a month.
Because looking
But I
back
think
at it,
to add, like, I was just gonna say, I think that was a good point with the tools because, and I actually didn't realize, only until our son came back from basic training, is when he was like, "Did you know it's like less than 1% of the U.S. population joins the military?" And I come from a whole family of military. I had no idea that it was that small. But it was such a great benefit. But I can remember like being a brand new nurse and recruiters like literally at the hospital trying to recruit us as we walked into shift, like, you know, come this way. I mean, I knew it wasn't for me, but it, you know, it can be a great benefit for you. It is a good tool to use for, especially when we're talking about the cost of education.
okay. Let me go back around though. But so Manic, and you guys can use your specific stories. Like if you got some like Phil, I know he was talking about like you should get the experience while you're going to school. Do you kind of agree with that, Manic? As far as like, do you got to line them up nowadays versus like back in the past? People just went to college, then got out. They were gonna get good jobs, but it seems it's a little more competitive. So do you think they need to line up their experience when they go to college?
Oh, absolutely. College is an opportunity, and I like the way Dusto put it as far as a tool, because you know, putting it as a tool, you get a chance to look at it not just for what it is, but you know, everything around it and what it impacts. It impacts, you know, your experiences socially. It impacts your experiences mentally, you know, psychologically, dealing with, you know, deadlines and schedules and routines and balancing like fun and whatever. So it impacts your financial, you know, if you have to take out any loans, or even if you don't have to take out any loans, it still impacts how you perceive finances in the world, because you just do so much growth during that time period. So it is a tool, and ultimately it is going to sit on your resume forever. Like that can never be taken from you, unless you didn't really have it in the first place. But that's something different. For the most part, I mean, I agree with Phil as well, though. Definitely gives you a leg up. And you guys were agreeing on the same thing. It's just that it was just going in a circle. But I seen both of y'all points. And I just saw the same thing.
Okay, let me get Wally in there real quick. Oh, go ahead, Dusto.
I was gonna cover something I heard before I clicked on. I can remember what it was. Oh, we're saying somebody was asking what degree should somebody go and get. And
Oh yeah, there you go.
Going to STEM because of STEM. I don't disagree that degrees have rankings and fields have rankings. But me, for example, I hate computers. I can't stand them. I want to sling them across the hallway every time I see one. I was a computer science major for one semester. It was Microsoft C++, and I dropped the class. My roommate was a computer engineering major. Hey, bro, what the hell would you go into the switch to computer science for, and you hate computers? I switched my major the next week. So yeah, it can be the best field, going to engineering. But if you ain't an engineer, don't go to engineering. If you're the best artist in the state, you might want to pick art or graphic design. So it also has a personal aspect to it, where do what it is that you're going to be the best at and what you're most passionate, what you're going to excel in based on what you want to do.
Okay.
Like that's also a factor.
Yeah, I agree with
And
you.
you gotta-
Oh, go ahead, man.
I was just going to say, not all degrees are created equal. Just like not all jobs are created equal. Some jobs are more labor intensive. Some jobs are more mentally challenging. and others, you'll stimulate you in other ways. And you got to understand these universities are coming up with this curriculum, this degree curriculum, and they're trying to encompass all of that in every single different field. But even when you pick a field, it's such a broad perspective that you're not going to remember 80% of the stuff that you were tested on. So from that standpoint, I see how exhausting that could be for some people, especially people who like tried it and then didn't finish it, and like, oh, college is not worth it. I quit while I was ahead. That's sometimes that's just excuses. And people and you got to understand, everybody who never even tried college, they're gonna all be on that bandwagon of, is it worth it? Or I'm not gonna say all, most people, because most people lack accountability.
No, but I do kind of agree with what Dusto saying. Like, man, you got to have that plan. Because I remember when I was like first went to college, man, I went into architecture and I took this like CAD class. The guy threw this block at me and he was like, all right, you got like a week to design it out with all the dimensions. And I got the project done because I was pretty decent at it. But man, these two guys, because they had this like computer room that we were all in. This is way before, everybody had a computer and laptops and stuff. So I'm sitting there, we're in this little thing. They knocked their project out in like 2 hours. Man, I'm looking at them. I'm like, this is my competition. I was like, I'm screwed. Like, it took me every bit of the week, the deadline and stuff. So I was like, Dusto, I dropped that shit so quick. Because I was just looking at them. I'm like, man, if they're finishing it that quick, they were already on the next week's assignment within 2 hours ahead. And I'm sitting there struggling. I was like, that's a wrap. Like, let me find my niche that I'm actually good at. So I'm glad I made that transition and pivot. So I see what Dusto's saying. Like, sometimes you need to be honest with yourself before you like fully invest. And if I would have went in that lane, I probably would have been like a decent CAD designer and stuff like that, while them other dudes would be light years ahead and stuff. So you do got to assess that stuff, I think, when you get to college, and be honest with yourself. So that was a good point, Scam.
Yeah, I see parents colonizing their kids. He's a
shit,
drunk
he said
truck driver.
colonize?
Yeah, drunk truck driver, mad because he couldn't get into college. Beating his son over the head, forcing him to go into technology because he thinks that's what's going to make him all this money all of a sudden. Like, no, create a plan that works best for your son. Or people from overseas. Your father was a businessman, you're going to major in business. Your dad was a nurse, or your mother was. Like, assess the person and come up with the best plan for them. I've seen it destroy people. I know somebody now who's a doctor, still mentally screwed up because she never got to make the choice, just forced.
Good point. Let me get Wally in there real quick. So
She probably
Wally,
rolling in some dough though.
yeah, they definitely they balling out.
Oh, damn, parents made me do this. Ah.
So Wally, do you think people need to, like, when they go into college, they should be trying to build up their experience at the same time?
Yeah, I think because you would have a little bit more of a fast pace to it. I think, because let's be honest here, because I think the biggest thing for me is looking at college overall is like, in most people's mind, you came for the skill set, right? You didn't came for everything else. Like, oh, like, okay, let's say you get into tech, like in computers. Like, I don't want to know about how the first computer got made. I just want to know the skill. Like, give me the basics, give me the, the next level, and then give me the pro standard. Like, okay, like, I'm just here for the skills. Like, don't teach me all of these other things. Like, I just want to get the experience and then be able to use that when I get out. And that's my main focus. So I think, yeah, I think on the side, you definitely want to build yourself up as you go with learning what you're getting the teachings from.
All right. I'm gonna get to the main question. Do you think we need to reform the college system? And if so, like, what reforms do you think they need to make? And I'll go to Mason first on that one.
I think they need to incorporate more real life. With like, I think Manic made a good point earlier. Like, you could ask me something I learned in school, and I literally would have, like, people will, just because I'm in healthcare, they'll message me questions all the time, and I'm like, I can find Google just as good as you can. Like, I don't know what bone you're talking about. I have no clue where that is at. So I think they, school, I think just does a lot of stuff. I think you need the foundation, but I think they do need to incorporate a lot of more real life learning into the curriculum. And then I also think in general, going back to high school, that it needs to start there as well. Because I think a lot of stuff is just taught in high school where they could incorporate. I think in Canada, actually, I have family that lives in Canada. And I think they do 2 extra years, if I remember correctly, of high school that counts automatically towards college, maybe. I know they do extra high school, but I think that you could also incorporate that just because I think a lot of the high school does not teach real life stuff like financing, budgeting, or anything like that. So I remember when our son was in the 3rd grade, his teacher had him, and I thought it was amazing. I love that. But that teacher had him write out a checkbook, and he had to balance his checkbook, and those kids had to use the checks for everything. They had to use it to go to the restroom, they had to use it to take breaks, and they constantly had to keep up with the balance just because there's so many people that don't even know how to balance a checkbook when they get out of high school. But I think that there could be a good transition between high school and at least an associate's degree. Then I think they need to incorporate real life learning with just kind of the book aspect. And I also think they should do a lot more mentoring programs. So with law firms, with healthcare facilities, with tech programs, plumbers, HVAC people, trucking, all of that I think should be incorporated. And I think they need to look at what they're charging in general. So if we're looking at in-state, out-of-state, private, public, profit, nonprofit, I think the cost is just ridiculous for what the kids are ending up with.
All right. Let me go to Manic on this. Do you think we need to reform the college system, and what changes do you think they need to kind of focus on?
Yeah. Absolutely think they need to change the college system. I think that tuition should, be capped. It should definitely be capped. There's so many fees that universities charge you that just make no sense. It's like, yeah, it's just a lot. So I think there should be limits on that based on there's like 2 approaches. Like one approach, they're 2 separate approaches. One approach is just an overall cap, like, hey, a bachelor's degree is gonna, put you in the hole 50,000 or something like that. Like that should be like a maximum, and these schools qualify to be in that category. Here's some schools who could still be out of state, but they have a cap of 30,000, 20,000 and so forth. So, school names mean things, but from my professional experience, they mean very little, especially undergrad. So I think if schools had across the board caps and we're in different tiers, I think that would help people navigate better and, think about the future, because they would automatically see those numbers like, hey, you want to get a degree from this place, this is what it's going to look like in the whole. And they have these numbers, but I think that if there was an actual cap, that's how people, students, kids would view it, and they would see that first. And then the second approach is have caps on these degrees. Like if someone's going to be an art major, there's no way that degree should cost, what some people who graduated with art have in debt. I think the degrees, and that's just one example. I'm not trying to pick on art majors. It's just one that I can think of off the top of my head that
Let's pick on them.
That you can't just jump in there and make great money unless you're like super talented and like have connections. But yeah, like a major like that versus like a engineering major, like, okay, yeah, you can go in the hole a little bit more because you'll be able to dig yourself out of that hole. And, the reward at the end will be worth what you're getting yourself into. and even caps on doctors too, because yes, doctors make great money, but you know, some of them rack up a lot of student loans in the process, and because it's just a long process. And if you're room and board, you know, your residency, you're not getting paid like that. It's a lot that comes with that. So it's a big sacrifice. But yeah, I would just have different caps going around.
No, that makes sense. So you're pretty much you're saying like kind of cap it based on like the earning potentials. So like you
Exactly.
said, like an art and a liberal arts degree, like there might not be like a big market for that. So it's just like, man, you should be charging.
15,000.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
15,000.
that makes sense.
And it would be like statewide, like I mean, it would be adjusted, you know, just how locality is. So, you know, it might be in DC, it might be 20,000, you know, and Delaware might be 12,000. So-
Okay, you got it in like locality pay and all that.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't
But,
like
you know-
that. I'm rest of US. I don't like that.
The
Oh,
rest of
yeah.
you- it will be adjusted for you.
Now that's not a bad system. And then going back to like the college name, so like a Harvard and Yale, that'd be in that top tier pretty much
Mhm.
based off of like name recognition.
And honestly, I wouldn't try to I wouldn't try to do that much of a transformation to like, you know, private institutions like the Harvards, the Yale, like any private institution, even like the religious ones, like, okay, they're the exception, like they can charge whatever. But like state, like state colleges, you know, universities, yeah, that, you know, public, absolutely.
Okay.
And
I like it.
yeah.
All right, let me get Wally in there. So Wally, do you think we need college reform, and what changes would you make?
In most cases, I believe yes. If it was for me, I think more so the accountability and the transparency side. You know, you technically hear a lot like when let's say if you were to get your degree and then the schools would generally help you to find a job, but you know that's not usually what you hear. That's not usually the end result. It's like they may say like what their somewhat help guarantees like around the 90s percentile, somewhere around there. So, but usually you hear certain people like, oh, well, I got this degree, but you know they're not doing nothing with it. So I'm just taking a guess, like, okay, yeah. So they couldn't help you really find a job where you can use that degree and be able to excel within that industry with that degree that you have. So, yeah, I think that's a little bit more of a help right there because pretty much like what Manic said, if the transparency was there, like, okay, well, our best that we can do to help assist you to, you know, the moment you graduate and get this degree and then to get you out there was this percentile. Because, you know, other than that, we don't have like a very big market sale. Like, for instance, like how much students have we helped get out of college? Like the moment that they got their degree, how much students have we helped, you know, get a job the moment they got out? Or, you know, how much months in advance, you know, did it took, you know, before they ever got anything, you know, something like that. I think that right there, you know, that was somewhat like pretty much up in some form of fashion.
That's a good idea. Let me go to Phil real quick. So Phil, do you think we need college reform, and what changes do you think they should make?
So I think they should actually push more children, more kids to go to these lower level community colleges in the beginning, get your associate's degree, and then transfer into a higher caliber, you know, bachelorate program, because these kids are putting themselves in such debt for a name. Okay, cool. I went to Stanford and I went to Harvard. Great. Does that make you more intelligent than anybody else? No, that just means that, you know, your GPA was halfway decent, so you got to go to a really good school. But I know guys who have went to like community college, then transferred to Delaware State, University of Delaware, George Mason, which are not all bad schools. But then you got the Harvard guy who looks at it like, you know what? I graduated from Harvard. Okay, cool. I can do the same job you can do. Probably just as good, but because you have a name associated with that, then that makes you what, top tier? Not necessarily. So then it also needs to be more push for like certifications, because people are getting more jobs off certifications than even our degree. If I have a Python scripting degree, Tech Plus, CompTIA Plus, Network Plus, I'm gonna jump into anybody's programming thing with your certifications, but not a degree, and automatically get the job because I know the coding language. I just know it. I can be entry level and make $100,000 years. If I'm advanced in that thing, now I'm looking to upwards to 2, just for having a advanced knowledge in just coding, not even a degree, but just the coding aspect. So it needs to be more push on these lower level colleges to start, so the kids can save money. They need to also push out the amount of grants and free education there is out there. Kids just they don't understand nowhere to look. So all these lower income schools and lower income areas that don't know this information, think they can afford to go to school, they can. They just have to look and apply, because school does not have to cost you pretty much anything. I know people who go to school for free up to their master's degree. They just know where to look. But if they're not educated on where to look, it's not going to work at all for anybody.
Yeah, good. It's
Yeah, I would agree.
Go ahead, Scam.
Slight pushback, and it's kind of shady. Everybody got a degree. Degrees wouldn't be as worth as much. They can't charge as much money. Smaller pool. Also, the community college, I'm 50-50 on the community college and transfer versus 4-year university. If I had which I got a nephew, one, he's on scholarship. So if somebody's paying, follow the system they got lined for you. But a university, you won't lose credits when you transfer, which could end up costing you time, as well as a freshman and sophomore. There's a 4-year already laid out program for you. Don't have to change locations. Can live on campus, can live off, can participate and get indoctrinated as the full college student more than you can from a community college, even with internships and other networking opportunities. My nephew, as a freshman, of course, he's on scholarship, got $15 an hour research internship that they offered him. I don't see any internships being offered at community colleges. But if the school is $50,000 a year, yeah, you might want to look at the community. So I'm saying there's both. But there is an advantage to the 4-year over the 2-year.
I'm
saying there's both sides.
Okay, I'll let you say.
I'm gonna jump in because you are completely incorrect that there's not internships at community college. Completely incorrect across the board. That is wrong.
Not knowing.
That is completely wrong. So
go ahead.
I'm gonna say this, right? There are multiple community colleges that do a direct transfer into a 4-year university. Okay, so again, they're wrong on that aspect. The internship part is from community college. There's a bunch. There's things that go from where they're doing to hospitals. Things we're doing from automotive to the military, whatever the case may be. So please look this stuff up before you say it, because you're wrong.
Hey, you could be right.
I'm gonna speak on my experience. I'm gonna speak on my experience because I literally
that old
I literally did exactly both. I started off in college at a 4-year, big 4-year university. And it was a great experience. So I definitely, that freshman, being part of it, it was a great experience. Ended up changing majors and then lost my engineering scholarship. So I switched to business, finance specifically, because I realized I like the money more than the engineering aspect of the engineering degree I was pursuing. So I figured, why not just focus on money? And in that field, I found where I wanted to go and, had a vision and execute it. Part of that vision made me go to a community college to save money. And those 2 years were one of the best decisions of my life. And if I had it to do over, I wouldn't have told, if I could have spoke to myself from the past, I would have said, don't go 4-year, go 2-year community college and then transfer your last 4, because the college experience is going to be there. It's going to be a little different because you'll be an older freshman, but and you won't technically be a freshman. So it'll be a little bit different, but college is not going anywhere. The college experience is going to be there, even if you decide to go 5 years or, and you don't lose that many credits when you transfer, especially if you go through, as Phil was talking about because a lot of these community colleges have partnerships directly with the state universities, state colleges and the university. So you don't lose any credits. You just directly transfer and that junior status. Now, when you're going from like across country cross state, like I did from Arizona to Northern Virginia, I did lose a little bit of credits, but it wasn't that many. I wouldn't even say it was a whole extra semester I lost. I lost a few classes. But yeah. So my experience, and I actually got an internship when I was at my community college, and I found the community college experience as far as internships to be way better than a university. And I say that absolutely, because when you're, and let me explain to you why. Because when you're at a community college, everybody's different ages and different experiences and different backgrounds. So your networking is expanded way beyond university. In a university, if you want to talk to somebody about like, oh, job opportunities, you kind of have to go to staff, faculty, and they can use their connects and whatnot. But you're one of thousands of students that's going to them, asking them for that same connect. Versus when you're at a community college, most of the people you're in class with, because I did night classes because I was working too, getting experience in my field. When you do night classes, there's young people, there's older people, there's people with so much experience. There's people. I actually got my internship because a girl that I was classmates with, she had 10 plus years of experience in the field that I was trying to get into, just in the private sector. She gave me a book and it talked about how to get in the government through internships, ironically. And I read that book and I followed exactly what that book said. And I was in the internship a few months later.
Let me ask you a question really quick though, Manic. So when people say the college experience, I always find it so interesting. I never went, like I never was on campus, none of that. So, and then you just say like she gave you a book and then the book is what helped you. I feel like the college experience is a sham. But I was not there, but I feel like it's a huge sham for them to make more money.
Yeah, it's not really. I wouldn't say it's a sham because it is an experience. It's for most people, it's their first time getting to be on their own and making adult decisions without parental supervision. So it is an experience for sure. But you're gonna get that experience anyway. It's just called life. The difference is in college, you're getting it all at the same time with the same people going through the same things, and it's exciting.
I heard on the Red Pill space they call it the indoctrination camp for 304s. Is it? No, is that the experience?
Oh, this man.
You know why they said
I mean,
You know why
really
they said that though.
It depends on what
They got
college you go
degrees.
to. Yeah, if you got beef, or if you got beef with people that have like higher education status than you, then yeah, you're gonna be upset to find anything. But it just depends on what you're looking for in college. If you're looking for that type of experience, then yeah, you can go to colleges who that party. Partying is promoted more, and the soror fraternity lifestyle is like promoted. Or you can go to a college to where you want for your future and has the best educational program for you. That's how you should pick college, because at the end of the day, you're going there to hopefully get the degree to make money so you can get the lifestyle that you want. And you should think about how much money you need to have that lifestyle.
So Scam, let me ask you a question. So your nephew, would you say he's like more focused, and like you said, he has some of the scholarships? So I could see why that experience would definitely probably be better overall if you kind of get that lane. But do you think like that's a good point Amazing had? Because I was thinking the same thing, like the college experience for the cost. Do you think it's worth it overall?
I can give my opinion. I'll put it this way: some stuff could just be wrong. Like I didn't know community colleges were doing that, because the one in the area I grew up in wasn't doing that. Houston Community College had some good programs, but not as much as the universities in the area. But it depended on what you were doing. But if y'all are right, y'all are right. But college experience, it depends on the person. Me, it was the refund check experience is like no other. I can't lie. Is it the right answers to everything? No. Is staying up till 3, 4 in the morning going to them sleazy parties? Is it the right thing to do? Maybe not. I wouldn't trade it in for the world. I'd take another refund check and go to them parties tomorrow if I wasn't so old. That experience is like no other. I'd be in there with a knee brace on. Me and my friends still talk about some of them sleazy parties and this stuff. College can be a light.
I was trying to keep it
A
light.
lot of people it is.
Scam.
But I don't know what college is now because people are less social. But
And they got phones now. You know exactly what college is like now.
Yeah, but I said it this way. I came home from the Army fall 2000. I started school spring 01. Spring 01, I stayed at home, went to school, and that was it. Because the spring semester ain't as fun as the fall. I didn't know nobody like that. I've been gone, come back. That was the worst semester. Fall 01, I stay on one campus, and I'm going to all the parties at the other. So I'm at 3, 4 different campuses all in the area, everywhere. Fall 01 was the best semester. Some of the best time of life. It just is what it is. But some people not social or mad or people were in super survival mode. Like I had friends who went to college and their face was in a book because they didn't have anything to go home to. The summertime, they're going to live in a 1-bedroom shack with a mom struggling to keep the lights on, or they're in the hood, whatever. They were in college trying to fight for their life. That's going to be a different experience. Mine wasn't like that. I had GI Bill money, got a car, got some shoes, and yeah, I was out there. Probably would have graduated.
But even that's like the perfect example because, like, I know, like, my son would literally send me pictures, and he would be at the ocean in Virginia Beach, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Don't you have class right now? How do you know people on a boat in Virginia Beach? So I just felt like it was just like a total party opportunity where there was nothing done.
Yeah, I went to school down
clean under the bus.
I went to school in that area, so yeah.
So that's the thing about college. Like, you meet so many interesting people. Like, he might have been in class with somebody. I was in class with somebody, and then dude had a boat and was like, have you ever been on a lake, artificial on television? I was like, no, I mean, an artificial lake. I was like, no, I haven't. And we had a couple projects together, and eventually I was like, all right, I'll take you up on that offer on a boat. And yeah, I was out there wakeboarding, and that's something I never thought I would be doing. But you don't miss class to do things like that because it's very different. You're used to going from high school early in the morning, class to the end of the day, and then it's like go home or after school activities, extracurriculars, whatever. College is completely different. You might have one class or 2 classes on a certain day. So if you have I like to do my classes early in the morning because it just reminded me of just like a traditional school that so I did all my classes and I was done by like 3. And I was like, man, I feel like I could get more in. But there's plenty of breaks in between classes. And sometimes you have lectures that are just not even really worth going to because it's going to be put on PowerPoint or the Blackboard. So you don't even have to go. So I was probably.
But I think that's why there's so many. Because I forget what the fail rate for freshmen is, but it's high. I mean, it's just like, again, going back to the reform, it's just all of that debt. There's just, it's just really, I think, money. And again, I support degrees. For my specific field, I have to have them. I just think that it's just a money making. It's a business, obviously.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
But amazing, you got a good point because as far as experiences, I remember when I first went to college and I was on campus. And, this is when I came out the military. So I was like, all focused. I was like, I understood what the cost was. I was like, I need to hurry up, a little older than most people on the campus. But, I was talking to the foreign students. Man, they were like getting their college degrees in like 3 years. They were working the same time. And I was like talking to a couple of them. They're like, yeah, we don't have no debt. Cause they're like, man, we take about like 18 credit hours. They go year round. They were working, paying down the debt the same way. So I was like amazed when I was talking to them. So they, like Dusto was saying earlier, man, they came in there with a plan. Like, look, you know, we coming in here, we're executing, we're getting our degrees in 3 years. So they were technically getting their masters by the time, like, when is most people finish their bachelors? Like regularly, like 5 years. So they were coming out with master's degrees where everybody was finally getting their bachelors and stuff because they were just like focused and stuff. So
Yeah.
I think they were colonized.
hey, they was militant with it. They were definitely militant. Yeah, they was focused. I was shocked. What's good, Jay? How you been, man?
What up, Jay?
Can you guys all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
First of all, shout out to everybody on the panel. Sorry I'm a little bit late, man. I just got back from the gym with my boy. We just putting in them reps. But
Nah, no doubt, man. Get that
no,
workout in.
Yeah, man. I had to knock it out, bro. Like 2 hours. But to speak on the conversation, guys, I do have an associate's degree, and I plan on going back for IT at least for my bachelor's, which coming next year. So I'm going in with a plan because it's benefiting what I have planned in the long run, because my 4-year degree is going because my 4-year degree is basically, in a sense, going to help me to where I want to go. And I've networked, I've connected with other people, and just to make sure I can secure that. And I do have a backup in case my one way doesn't work. Because I've always said, listen, you need backup plans for your backup plans. I don't care what anyone tells you. You always need that, and make sure that you can rely on that. And my thing is that I'm gonna teach English in Japan. That's one big thing that I have going for me. That one, I know the language, and two, I'm taking online courses for to create curriculums for people in Japan to understand how English works and how to actually teach them. So the thing is, like I said, so all the stuff I have is there. I just need to make sure I knock out my degree and get that done. But to speak on people who feel like, and to an extent, I do agree with some. I agree with some people who kind of do drop out and don't, because, there'll be some times where, like, it seems like the hurdle to get through some of these courses are a little bit more difficult, even when you do ask for help. And guys, and I'll tell everybody here, yes, not the biggest math person, okay? Like from geometry to algebra 1 is my shit. That's all I know off my head. That's all I need. That's all I need, because I'm not gonna need it in like what I'm trying to do. Like, but you have to take those other courses, like algebra 2 and then calculus, statistics, like all that. You have to take all those if you're trying to go for either a master's or, I won't say a doctorate, but like for like either a master's, things like that, or bachelor's. And sometimes it can be a hurdle and not worth the effort if you don't, if you're struggling and no one's trying to help you. Because I went for tutoring for my stuff, just for the math. Everything else I aced. Had no problem with that. It was just the fucking math that was a pain in the ass. But
Jay, I don't mean to interrupt you.
It was a problem.
Just got a quick question. What are you trying to do in IT?
In IT, so I'm going into coding. That's one of the I'm doing coding, and I have a brother who thank goodness I got somebody in the family that I know that does this, and he helped break it down to me to where, like, it's one of the if you consider it like a puzzle, it's not that difficult.
Oh,
and if you know how a circuit board, or like how this crap works right here, which is quantum mechanics, then trust me, it's not like difficult than what you think it is. And he excels at that. So the craziest thing about my brother is that he's a real estate agent and he does decoding for IT. It's freaking crazy. He does 2 freaking jobs for his family, and he works from the house. Whenever he has his days off, he does IT, which is decoding, and then when he's away, he's doing his real estate stuff.
You said that's your brother?
It's all out there. He would tell you if I could get him on. If I can get him on one of these streams, I'll have him on here one of these days. But
You
he
said
would
that's
tell
your
you,
bro-
like,
You said that's your brother?
No, go ahead.
You
Yeah,
said
my
that's
oldest
your brother?
brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. So he does coding.
Yes,
And
he
real
does
estate.
coding.
Okay. And real estate. Okay.
Coding and real
That's
estate.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up.
I was trying to tell y'all that's where it's at. I told
Mhm.
you.
Yeah.
And
So, Jay, that's what you're kinda gonna
shout
do?
to this brother, because that's what he was telling me 2 years ago.
Yep.
So, Jay, that's what you're gonna like do the curriculum, like you said in Japan, and you're gonna work like the IT stuff on the side.
Yes,
No, that's smart.
the
No,
thing.
that's a good. I'm
Because,
glad you mentioned it.
because my mentor, he did that. He's former military, by the way, and he did that for a total of, God, how many years? I think he said like 17 years. And he was building up, and see, he did the IT from over there because he worked remotely. And then after that he teach English, and as a way of him doing that, because military funds and things like that and benefits, it helped him accumulate a lot more money within that company. But it was an English owned company in Japan that he worked for when he did the IT thing for the coding and things like that. All you got to do is learn how to type like really, really fast, and then you're good to go. Just make sure you can get 1,000 words like in like 5 minutes or something like that. So things like that. But that's how long he did it for, and he's got lots of stocks now. And he retired around the age of 55. Yeah, I think he's 55 right now. And yeah, he's actually living comfortably in Japan with his wife and his kids currently right now.
So that's your plan. Like you're gonna move. I remember talking to you a while ago. So you're gonna move up over there, right?
Yes. That is the main thing, but it's right after, but I've always said, like, right after I get my degree, then it's gonna be 1 year probably piling up a little extra bit of cash for me, and then after that I'll head out. I won't just go right the heck right away.
What kind of coding are you talking about? Are you talking like Security Plus? You talking about CompTIA? You talking about Network Plus, Python, Code R?
So Python is one of the ones that my brother does, and then he did security.
He did Sec Plus.
What was it? It was cybersecurity for actual for a company for IT tech place.
Mm-hmm.
That was they were looking for people who were working remotely who could like create like particular decoding programs for them so that they create their firewalls well. And
so
that was an intern job for him at first, and then he made it a career, and then after that he went on to doing Python first.
Did he do cybersecurity in the military? Did he do cybersecurity in the military?
Did he do cybersecurity? I mean, sorry, say it again. Did he do
cybersecurity in the military?
No.
Okay, because you talked about the coding. So I did coding in the military. That's why I was asking. Yes.
Okay, shut up, hey, man. Due respect to you, bro. If you could do that, that's what's up. My brother did it right after he served in the military, and then he just went right into that. Because somebody similar to you told him, and then that's what he started doing. But he said, like, let me just finish out my year, and then I'll go back to school, and he did that. He did the opposite of what you did.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very profitable thing, man. Just know that it's very perishable, so you gotta make sure you stay on it.
Yes, sir. Information.
Yeah.
So Jay, are you going like online or in class? Because I have to that type of stuff. I need somebody in front of me, some instruction. So.
Oh no! I'm not gonna go. Like the idea was to do it online, but I'm like, no, bro. I work better by seeing it, and then once I see it, I take notes, and then I study it, and then after that, I'm good. That's how I passed all my freaking courses, bro. I don't know any. I know a couple of people who are like that who can do it online. But I'm talking about like the IT stuff. I would be in class personally, having to take that.
Okay.
Like there's no way I could freaking just go off him hearing his voice and just no. I gotta see examples and all that stuff. And then once I see how it's done, then I can do it. It's not a problem for me.
Okay.
Because
we're talking about like college costs.
I'm more hands-on than anything.
I'm
more observant. Yeah.
Yeah, especially for that stuff. That makes sense. But we were talking about like college costs earlier and stuff. So is it pretty steep for those like type of IT programs?
What he said.
So I would say it's not. If you're going to go for a certification, then no. But if you're going to go for the actual degree within that field, it's not that it's costly. It's the amount of time you're going to have to dedicate to learning this stuff. It is so perishable, and you have to understand it. It depends what coding language you're trying to learn. So if you do like basic Linux, then that's a whole different platform. Python's a whole different platform. Sec Plus, Net Plus, all that
Python,
stuff. They're all different ones. So you have to pick your line of focus. You got some people who do all of them. There are like a gift from God. I don't know how they're able to do that, but to know that many languages at one time, and a lot of these people are really, really good at math because a lot of math goes into these specific things. But like for mine, just doing Python and Linux is a lot. That is a lot to have to remember to how to code these things. So
Yeah.
More power to you, Jay. If you're going to get all those, man, I strongly suggest get Sec Plus and get CompTIA. Because those two
Plus and Compia. Okay.
those two are going to be the ones that get you in. If you only need Network Plus if you're like connecting systems. So, but just having Security Plus, knowing Python, and then knowing CompTIA, you should be good to go.
All right, brother. Thank you. Thank you for telling me that.
Nah, y'all giving some
I'm gonna-
great information. Y'all done confused
Can
me,
I
but
just add really quick,
Go
really,
ahead.
there is also, I would say, is a lot of jobs aside from the military also pay for school. So like I know where I work, they make they'll make a student loan payment for me every month. So, you know, they'll do student loan repayment, they do current. So if I wanted to go to school for something, they'll pay for it currently. And they actually like my son just applied for a scholarship through my job because they do dependent scholarships as well. So a lot of different, you know, government, healthcare, they do tons of manager in training, executive leadership in training. So you can literally get your training and your school paid for. So for example, like I had mentioned earlier, I'm in a leadership position, I had to have a master's degree for it, but my background is healthcare. I already had a bachelor's degree in science. So I got my experience building up through my first associate's degree. I was getting experience, but literally at that point, I got into a leadership role. But to move forward, I needed that master's degree. But because I had a needed degree at an associate's level, even I made money straight out of an associate's degree, and then was just able to increase, and they paid for my school. So I think you just have to have like that plan in place so you're not wasting time and money in classes that you don't need. Like I said, I do have a completely useless degree also, but I have good ones.
Amazing. I wouldn't say it's useless because that higher education, maybe not your specific job, but that higher education in general is going to set you apart from anybody. Period. Yeah. And Jay,
And
when it comes to what she's saying, there is, in fact, a lot of jobs that have like scholarships or things to go to college. A lot of people just don't apply for them. Like my job has had one for 3 years. Not a single person has applied yet. It's like $50,000 just sitting there. Nobody applies for it.
Yeah.
So you have to ask those questions.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Amazing. Real quick, what was that one online program where it was like that school that you went to where it was like work at your own? It was like real cost efficient.
Yeah, it was Western Governors University, and I recommend that college to everybody. So that's actually where I got my master's degree, and they charge you like per semester. So like every 6 months, as many classes as you can knock out, it doesn't change your costs. So I literally know somebody else that I work with that did that program, and they finished their master's degree in like 9 months. But and they'll tell you like that's all I did that's all they did, but they finished a master's degree in 9 months. Our job paid for it and it was less than $5,000.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay.
She told me about that program. I was about to just sign up for some degree. Yeah.
Hey,
9 months.
Can you email me that?
Bro,
Yeah,
I
I'll send it to you.
I need to know what that is. That is crazy.
If I can do that in 9 months,
months?
Yeah.
Yep.
I like that.
Now it's a lot of work. You got to put the work in, but if you can knock those classes out, you will finish it.
I don't care about. I don't have a life. I don't care. Give me the school. Look, all I do is work and go to the gym. If you give me school on top of that, I'm set. Give me that.
Yeah, because I was about to do another degree on there because when I saw the breakdown, it's like $2,000 a semester. So if you can knock it out as at your pace, man, it's a cheap model. But they paved a way for that model to lower the cost of school. But it's a real good program and stuff like that.
See, that is a good program, and it's not like actually with schools. But personally, like all you would have to do is instead of paying like these 20,000 like degrees or 30,000, 4,000, like these degrees like bullshit. Like I would have had like the requirement would have been like, yo, listen, you owe us by $5,000, and you can pay that back within a freaking year. I like those. I like those deals better because you can get that. And like I said, even if you were paying in installments, that would be 2 years, no more than that. And like I said, it would actually incentivize people to like, okay, it's not too much to go back to school, or at least to go to college, particularly. It would just like, now if you said, I'll say this, now if you were to say like $5,000 if every 2 years or something like that, nobody would be mad at that. I'm like, dude, that's doable. You would just, like I said, like especially if you're playing, like I tell people, if you're going, like what you said about your masters, and I know there's above master, like there's like graduate course classes and things like that, because one of my buddies is actually doing that, and I think he's a psychopath for trying to do that. But hey, man, but hey,
he's actual psychopath, or
yeah, not an actual, but I'm talking about the mindset he has.
Crazy.
No, he has that Poindexter mindset where it's just like, yo, man, I gotta. Hey, listen, I gotta climb this mountain, man. So I'm gonna do it. I'm climbing Mount Everest, bro. Like Jay, just let me know. Like I'll let you know within a couple of months, man, how it all goes. And you know, and he likes the program. He does like it, but it constantly keeps him busy. And he says like, yo, hey, and I told him I'm not calling you throughout that entire time because I know how our buddies would probably get you distracted. I'm like, no, don't tell him nothing. Don't talk to him. Let him finish his exams. All that, because that takes a lot of time. That when you're doing graduate course classes, there are things above college level that you need to, that they're going to teach you, and the freaking curriculum is crazy. So it's very tedious and it's a pain in the ass, is what he said. But hey, man, once you get like a B or an A on it, he's like, hey, whatever, man, I got it done. He feels good about himself right now, but he still thinks he's slightly crazy right now. I'm like, what the hell is that thinking trying to do this? That's what
I
I'm
think,
telling you.
like Manic mentioned earlier, and it's funny because I actually didn't realize, but I used to travel fairly often for work. And I had mentioned a very well-known school, I would say here in like the DMV area, and I was in Texas. And they had no clue what I was talking about. Now everybody here knows, but in general, unless you're talking about like a Yale or a Harvard, as long as you're accredited and you can put it on those specific jobs that need it, they don't care where you got your master's degree as long as you got it.
Yeah, they won't. Yeah, they just care that you have it. That's what it is.
Yeah, I think more people nowadays are focusing on experience. I think they got away from like, it used to be like college names, but now it's more experience wise. And I'm glad you guys all mentioned that. But let me ask you guys a question, because Scam kind of brought it up earlier as far as like parents. Do you think parents are part of the problem? Because I know we were talking about reform earlier. I think they need to stop like giving loans out like they do, just like guaranteed loans. I think they need to change the amount that they give out, especially like what Manic was saying, cap the college degrees, and the government shouldn't be just like throwing out loans like that. But do you think the parents are kind of part of the problem, Scam, would you say, as far as like not being more hands-on with the kids? Is like, you shouldn't, like you said, don't go in this degree just to go in there, and I'm pushing you into that field.
I would start with yes. Anything with the child is always on the parents. But I'll say this. Parents of the generation above me did push their kids to go to college, so I will give them credit for that.
Okay.
I'll give them credit. Pushing or saying, yes, do better than I did. I saw a lot of parents, neighborhood and the area I grew up in, there was a lot of that. They didn't know, and they somewhat did the best that they had. But I can't expect a person who never went to school to tell you how to go to school, when to go to school. With it. I can't expect it. They never went. But the part I throw parents on the bus about is making your house a hostile environment where as soon as a kid turns 18 and running for their life to a college, they don't ever want to come home. Parents who do that. My parents did it to us.
That was definitely my route.
That's how I ended up in the army. We didn't want to come.
You under the bus?
I'll throw them under the bus. Yeah, beautiful home and everything. As long as they weren't home. Yeah, I'm 17. I see my brother and sister. They home from college break, raiding the pantry, stealing Golden Grams, stuffing in trash bag, then trying to get out before my parents come home because they don't want to hear their mouth. So they got a car with no gas in it, 3 wheels on it. They're thinking we're gonna go to school, we're gonna be all right. And my mom is cheap, so here's $20 to go to college. Yeah, college costs more than $20.
Okay.
Oh, you'll be all right. You'll figure it out when you get there. But that part and making it a hostile environment, thinking that once you're 18, you got the whole world figured out. And the other part, the colonization, telling them they only know 6 things. Go to college because of tech. Go be a doctor or a lawyer. Like, do you really know that there's 500 attorneys? There's 5,000 different floors in a legal office, legal documents, contracts, paralegal, other medical stuff. No, you're going to be a doctor. What kind of doctor? Can I be a psychologist? Can I be ear, nose, and throat? Like, they just stuff this stuff in them, and the kid doesn't actually get to make an actual detailed plan. Or not exposing them to the things. You knew when he was 15, he wanted to be in college. Drive him up there at 15, 16, 17. Introduce some people. Build a whole plan. Start the networking early so they can actually go meet, sit down, spend a half day with an engineer, with an attorney, with a contracting special. The weird fields that we don't know about at 17. We only know 6 at 17. Firefighter, police, nurse, doctor, attorney. Pick one.
I was trying to be that, actually. The firefighter.
You don't know what an admin specialist does. Like, y'all get where I'm going.
Yeah.
So I give credit, but then I take away the credit. So they're about
So they cutting even at this point. Would you guys?
I gotta create that big ass.
I definitely second. I definitely second everything Dusto just said. A lot of times, parents don't properly prepare, their children to make such a big decision like that. But then again, I look at it like times have changed so much. Like cell phones, like 50 years ago, like that's the span, like that's the life that they grew up. So somebody who didn't go to college initially or went much later in life, they're telling you go to college fresh out of high school. They're telling you based off of limited experience. So it's like they can't give you the best advice. They can only give you advice that, hey, they didn't go that route and they knew somebody who did. So that must have been the better route. So it's just like, I think parents are really doing their best job. Not all parents are good. But I think even in even just from your case, from your example, you're like your pops was like, hey, you'll figure it out. Like, he's an adult now. He's legal. I'm sure his generation, he saw people who didn't get that. Probably got coddled. He probably saw somebody get coddled and was like, oh, I do not want my son ever to be like that. Like the neighbor down the street. So at all costs, I don't care if my son is struggling on the worst. He cannot end up like Hector, who's 48, still at home with his parents. So
that's a good point, Manic.
No, I agree with you, bro. And I think I think the testament for me is so my parents didn't do it, but the school did. We actually went on a field trip, particularly because I think we were junior. I think we were juniors at the time, and this is probably one of the best college trips we ever went on. So they took us to a place called Mercyhurst, which is in Erie, Pennsylvania, guys. If anybody has ever been to Pennsylvania, you'll find out there because there's like 2 major campuses, which is Edinboro and Mercyhurst. Can't believe I still remember them damn names. I'm 13 years old. I still remember them motherfuckers. Yeah, it's crazy. I still remember them. But it was this big. But they were showing us like what different categories of majors that there were there. And they got to meet some of the people who were experts in the field. I believe I talked to like 3 professors, a couple of athletes, and a guy in an English major because I had a thing for English because I strive very strong in English or social studies, so I was very interested in that at the time. And what, I sat down and had a talk with each and every one of them. And, it got me to thinking about some things. So, like to put the thought already into the head because what you want to be when you were in 8th grade, trust me, I guarantee you that shit will go out the window when you're in high school
Facts.
or getting ready to go to college. You trust me, because some kids do go in without knowing what they want to do. And that did happen to me for a little bit when I went to get my associates for graphic design, because I love art, but art doesn't pay as much money unless you're working in marketing or advertisement, things like that. And that's why I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just get my associates. I'll come back and I'll get my IT, because that's something that I really wanted to do. But that field trip helped me figure out certain things when I went to it, where it's just like, there's many things that you can do. So it doesn't. My parents didn't show me, but this field trip did. So, shout out to the school for actually giving, trying to make sure give the juniors an idea what they want to possibly do, or like I said, if this is something you want to do, then check a different major, talk to other people, like actually connect and actually network with people. And I mean, yeah, you're a junior, but you'll be graduating next year, so it's good to have those either colleges lined up for you that you want to go to. So I
think that's a good plan. I think more schools need to do that. But yeah, just going back to like what Dusto and Manic was saying also, I definitely was like pushing our son out. But then when we started seeing those costs and stuff, and then COVID was going around too. So, that's when we told him like, hey, come back home and, lower the costs and stuff, where, it wouldn't be that expensive and stuff. So I do see like parents do kind of push kids like, oh, you got to get out the house. I definitely was guilty of that. But yeah,
I think
so.
Oh, go ahead.
There's also though, like a lot of things I think that a lot of parents just don't know. So for example, like I put our son on our credit card, I think when he was a junior in high school. I use my credit card for everything. So he had better credit than most 40-year-olds when he was 20. Now I also monitor and still do his credit very closely and tell him the minute you get a credit card, you're off of my stuff. He doesn't have access to the card, but it's continually building up his credit. He was able to get his car and this, that, and the other without me for anything or us. But again, like my parents were hard workers and great parents, but they were not highly educated. And I mean, this would shift to a whole different conversation, but I also think it's the people you surround yourself. Jerk is actually the one who pushed me in my career and education. So, I mean, again, my parents were hard
doing
workers,
something positive.
but they didn't talk about college. They talked about college and art.
Is it the degree? No, I'm joking.
Yeah,
For me.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
I just froze up.
Yeah, it's like,
I think
there we
everybody
go.
froze.
Yeah, everyone was freezing up.
Are we all good?
It was because Jerk might have started to act arrogant, so they made YouTube froze us all to stop him in his tracks.
That's probably it. Yeah, I dropped Manic. So yeah, like if it was probably StreamYard, kicked everybody out for a second.
Okay. Because I was wondering if he froze up. I'm like, was it me? I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on?
Man, I appreciate the panel giving out good perspectives of ideas of how to getting your kid more involved, like try to get them involved early. But I think the best thing you could do is start them early, like around, I always want to say 15 and talk to them, like, maybe start talking to them around, like, I'll say 15, at least before their graduation or at least before their junior or senior year. Just ask them what they're interested in. And tell them about, like, if you go in this, son, you'll make more money or you'll make less money, but at the same time, hold on. Let me ask something. It's up to you to study this as a parent and see what the market is thriving in right now. And if you come out, you give them the proper information and actually show them, then they'll get it. But you got to break it down to where they can understand it. I think that's the only way it works. Otherwise, you might be talking gibberish. I promise you will be talking gibberish to them. But I think, like I said, you reel them in early, and then you see what they're interested in, and you tell them, like, son, if you go into like STEM or something, you'll make this amount. Or if you some go into IT or engineering, it's a multifaceted archive. So there's many things you can do within there. And if you're interested in engineering, like you got the possibilities are endless for you, but you gotta know this is what you want and like I said, what you want for a long time. Now there might be something you can start off with, and you might want to go up the chain ladder. So things like that. And I would say have a serious talk about it. Don't play with them. Just be very serious because he, like I said, he's looking to dad or both or mom for like an answer to some of this stuff. So because like I said, because they probably won't go to a teacher, probably go to their parents first, and then hear from the teacher.
Great information. Go ahead.
I'll just add, just like lastly, I think probably some of the best advice is to just really pay attention to your not just your kid, but also the future and what your kid is surrounding with his future. And that's not just people or places or things. That's like trends, companies that are seemingly to be super popular with younger people and like people his age, because that's where those real entrepreneurial opportunities come into play. So I grew up in a generation where, there were video games, but it didn't start online. Like video games were a thing where people went to each other's houses and, got together.
Brother, no.
But so people were very good at video games, like collectively. It was like a experience type thing. As I grew older, video games became online and it became competitive to where it was actually, you can make money off doing it. So that's a whole career field lane that's opened up that, if you were that parent that, kind of saw your kid playing video games, hey, get off that. That's a waste of your time, energy you could be doing. Because I mean, that's what I was told. So I was always pretty, so I was able to play video games on weekends. And I don't doubt it because it allowed me as I got older to, I wasn't really that great at any video games. It allowed me to disconnect real easily from the video games when I had to face real responsibilities and like balancing, college, social lifestyle, and working, and playing sports and working out. Video games was one of those things that was like the first thing I could cut off, and like I didn't feel any type of way about it. But I know some people don't want to cut off their video games, and it's a therapeutic thing for them. If you're a parent and you're paying attention to seeing all the kids gravitating towards something like video games, for example, you could look into it like, hey, what's the trend of these video games? Like, is this going to be something potential? Maybe as a parent, I want to, instead of my friend having his friends come over and gather in the basement, maybe I want to promote my son having a party and he inviting, some kids from his school, and, they get a video game tournament or something like that. And he hosts video game tournaments while he's in high school, like, just opportunities, things like that.
No, that's a good point, because I was listening to somebody, they brought that up. I didn't really think about it. They were like, just think about like when parents push kids from video games, if they could have been competitive or something. So yeah, I think parents do got to get better, have more awareness. So that's a good point.
Yeah, or even looking at the video game and say, hey, instead of playing it, why don't you figure out how to make it? Something simple as that too.
That too. I think as the era has gone along, even for me, because I even tell you guys right now, like I said, my play time on games is just very low compared to when I was a kid. Because anybody who has Sega Genesis, because I'm a '91 kid, yeah. So when he said going up to play games, that's the era we're talking about, where you actually walked with your system over there, or you came over, you got your Sega Genesis controller, and you started playing, or Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and things like that. But that's because as a kid, you're more invested and it's more interactive play when you're younger. I think when you get older, you get more responsibility. And I love what you said about that, brother, because my play time is like 2 hours. That's nothing to me, nothing. And I can't go any higher than that sometimes. It's either 2 or 3, and then after that, I gotta go. Listen, I got business I gotta take care of, and that's just because I think, and I ask myself this question. I always go to where the hell did my time go? And I'm like, and that's the thing. I'm like, Jay, you grew up. like responsibility. You're an adult. You're 32 years old. You pay your bills. you live with your roommates. Particularly, you literally live in your own house. Like you don't have time to like really play around and things like that. You're actually trying to build something to get somewhere. And the thing is, this crap can be a distraction sometimes. But my mind sees it as play like less time on this and then more time with everything else. And yeah, this might be a therapeutic thing for like every one or 2 hours. After that, it just I can't do it no more.
Yeah, it's just about balance, like you said.
Yeah,
you gotta have them outlets and stuff.
but I'm not one of the dudes that are on 24/7 on my computer or on here playing games. Like, no, I'm always doing something. I'm always keeping myself busy, and I think that comes with the passage of time. As you get older, you're either you can love games so much, probably to a fault. But you know, if you're not profiting off of it, if you're not making a living off of it, then there's no point to really playing it. Like I said, unless it's for my brother up here said, like, you know, therapeutic reasons. But like, you know, just don't let that. The reason why it gets such a negative rap is because it seems like you're not doing anything with your life. But that's how it comes off. But I don't see that anymore. Like not to the degree, because I know a cat who works almost 24 hours. He gets 1 day off. And you want to guess what he does when he gets the hell off? He doesn't even go right to sleep. He plays 6 hours of his games and then goes to freak to sleep. I can't do that at all.
I remember them cats be up drinking Red Bulls and stuff to play like all day and stuff. So
yeah, it's impossible. I'm sorry, it's impossible for me, man. I'm sorry, I can't do it no more. And I'm like, and people, not people, but like some of my friends be like, I'm not a gameaholic like you guys. Like I said, 2-3 hours, that's it, bro. Then after that, I'm like, all right, man, I'm done. It's like my attention is not on focused on it anymore. My attention is so focused on like, you know, being responsible, trying to like be more mature, learn new things.
Yeah, try to get to where you want to be in life. Yeah,
exactly. And maybe when I'm 50 years old, I'll pick it back up. Maybe I can try to get those hours in, but I think it's going to be the same because it's like I got a strict program in here that allows me like don't go above this because like too much of this is not good for you because you slip, and when you get complacent, you get lazy. And that's one thing I keep telling myself in my brain, like, you get complacent, Jay, don't do that. You get lazy, bro. And I'm like, all right, get up. I'll be like, all right, put this crap down and go to the gym.
Yeah. So I can't really get into the newer video games nowadays because they're just so intense. Like they require so much of time to even start the game. Like I grew up on the, you know, Sega 64 and the PlayStations. So those games you could play in 30 minutes, you're good. Like you could play with an hour if you have a couple friends and stuff like that, or maybe even 2 hours. But they were designed to like, as soon as you press start, boom, your player selection, boom, select your character, and now you're fighting. These games now, when you click the start button, you have to read all the terms and conditions.
All the reasons.
You gotta accept some stuff, and it's just like I already accepted the terms and conditions, and then you gotta accept some other stuff, and then you have to accept online play, and then they're like, "Oh, you don't have an online account. Here, would you like to set one?" And it's like, no, you bypass all of that. That's at least 5 to 10 minutes just getting to start the game, and then when you go to play the game, now if it's a fighting game, it's the screen selection is crazy. It's like regular fight, advanced fight. Like it's just turbo mode. Like it's just so much stuff going on. Then when you play it, you think you're about to play the game, and then it starts off like a movie. And now people are talking, and there's like a 3-minute scene, and then now you're finally fighting somebody. And it's just like out of nowhere. You're like, damn, I thought I was watching a movie at this point.
Like 30 minutes, like 40
minutes. It's too much now. It's too hard to control. I was trying to play with my son one day. I was like, you know what? I can't do it. But we'll go ahead. I'll get everybody's closing words. We're going to go ahead and shut this down. I did have another topic, but I wanted to keep this one dust free. You know, as my man, the philosopher Scam Likely says, I'm going to keep this one dust free. So I'll go around real quick. Start with you, Scam. Any parting words, final thoughts?
Final thoughts. As far as college, create a plan and make that plan 360, not just two things. Not just get a degree, be a doctor. Be a doctor now. Go to that college after, like, think this whole thing out. Who is this person? Where are they going? What do they need? Where should they go? How should they go? When should they go? Like the whole process. What are the other options? Have you invited a military recruiter over? Have you looked at other stuff? But start these plans. Actually, start planning with your kids before they're born. Have a parenting plan before the kids get here. Then, all the way through, and some of this should be coasting by the time they're going to college, instead of drop kicking them out, filling out paperwork while you're on the interstate. But this is a life decision, and it can be a life experience, and it can change your life. So know what you're doing. That's all I got.
All right, let me go to Phil real quick. Phil.
Oh, one more thing.
Go ahead.
I'll be going live this Sunday. I'm trying to get some women's on the panel because I want to talk about confidence amongst women. I got a couple to join. I could use more.
All right.
That's
What
all I got.
time?
I'll be there.
I think I said it for 9, but I might move it up.
Okay.
I got you.
Yeah, because I was upset I missed your last one with the men because I wanted to pull up.
Yeah, it's cool. There'll be another one. I'm going to confidence and optimism quite often.
Nah, you be having some good topics, man. I definitely like your shows and stuff, your concepts. So I'll always love chopping it up with you guys. Just shoot me an IG or something. You about to go live because sometimes I didn't get the alert on you that video for some reason.
Yeah, I'm gonna steal this topic and recycle it in about a month or two. So just
hey, we'll pull back up though. We'll come through. All right, Phil. Part of words.
All I'm gonna say is there's free education out there. You just gotta go look for it. That's it.
All right. Go to Amazing.
Once again, happy social work month to all you social workers out there. It's a hard job. I would just say for people to reach out, even if you don't know anybody in the field that you want to go to. People are normally willing to tell you everything you want to know. You just have to be able to ask.
Mhm.
So reach out to people. There's normally funds out there. Don't go into debt trying to get what you want, because normally there's help. So just reach out to people on those different help, whether it's calling a hospital, calling an agency, calling an attorney's office. People are willing to help. You just have to ask.
Nah, that's a good point. And I was just looking at one news clip, and there was some girl that she sat up and applied for like all of those scholarships. She got one of those scholarship books, and I think she netted like 80 or something, 90,000 a year. So I mean, there's a lot of money. They were saying there were so many like scholarships. I think Phil kind of hit on it, where money's just sitting there because people don't like never apply for those things. So yeah, I think that I forgot that book I used to get, the scholarship something, but it has like everything listed in there. It's like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, all these companies and organizations that have scholarship money. So it's like, man, people, if somebody just put that time in, applied for them, you could clean up. So it's like, man, definitely put the time in, man. That could save you a lot of money. So now, good point.
Sorry, one more quick point is just because you don't think like high school was for you does not mean college isn't for you. It's totally different. So don't think just because you struggled in high school that it would be the same in college. And I agree. I don't think you need a degree for everything, but some things you definitely do. And don't think because you struggled through, like I know Jay mentioned, I went to tutor for math also. Just because you struggle in something, there's people that help you, and colleges literally have people waiting for you to reach out to them. So don't let that deter you either.
Yeah,
All right,
and
man.
even if you're, I was gonna say, just piggybacking directly off of what Amazing and Jay was saying. Even if you are great at something, there's nothing wrong with getting additional help, somebody who understands it better than you, because that's just gonna make you better. So don't be afraid to reach out when you need help. Overall, great show. I really enjoyed the college conversation. There's definitely some layers that we couldn't get to just because, just getting everybody's just raw opinion. But to summarize it, college definitely can be a great thing for you if you do it the right way. And I think the best advice, Scam kind of hit on it, have a plan. And, Jay came up here, hit on it immediately, say, hey, my plan is this. So the first thing is have a plan. And when you're developing your plan, some advice that I would give you is to look at the lifestyle that you want. That means think about the car, think about the house, think about the city you want to live in, think about the lifestyle you want to have, think about your monthly budget you think it'll cost to have your rent, and look up what adult responsibilities are, utilities, look up all those things. Figure out what that is, and then figure out what expenses would you like. Would you like to eat at nice restaurants 5 days out of the week? You know, think about all that and then start putting those numbers together. And once you have those numbers together on the lifestyle you think you want, then start looking at careers that align with that, a salary. And then you can readjust as necessary. And then you got to understand that you're making this decision with the limited information that you have at whatever age you are. So you are going to grow. You're going to get more information. So when you're making your plan, don't make your plan so rigid that you can't, that there's no flexibility. Because a lot of times we may think we want something and get closer to it and realize, oh, what's actually a lot better is over here. So just leave some wiggle room in your plan that you're thinking about for your vision to make adjustments as you grow and get more information. That's it from me.
All right, that was good.
Well said, brother. That was beautiful.
Thank you. I
Wally, any
appreciate it.
parting words?
Wally?
And plug your new
Wally,
channel.
I was surprised you didn't show that baby face. I'm a little disappointed.
Wait for the, there it is.
Yeah, oh
I
my
gotta do that
goodness.
when I go to Japan. Jesus Christ. Oh, I don't want to shaved.
Oh Lord. But
Oh,
my final thoughts is, look, great conversation as always. This was very much a well-needed conversation for people that especially for the young kids of the new generation. Yeah, so I think this is very much a good conversation in the broad spectrum of things, because I definitely do think, like, because when, like, pretty much like what most people are saying, like, you know, right now there's just multiple ways of just getting like higher in education. You know, it doesn't have to be a college degree. It can be a certification. You know, some people may go for trades. You know, people are taking wherever they get, you know, as far as the best route without doing too much, but knowing that they're getting the fullest benefit of the actual thing, which is they're getting the skills. So, yeah.
All right, Jay. I saved you for last because I want you to plug your channel, man. Definitely subscribe, fan is been watching your stuff for a while, so give us some
Appreciate
final
it, man.
thoughts and then plug your channel too, man.
no, I definitely will, but I'll do it at the very end. But I just want to say one quick thing for my closing thoughts. Shout out to everybody on this panel. You guys have amazing energy. There's no negativity here. There's actual, you know, an actual conscious decision to actually give out good advice, you know, to people who are willing to go to college. I really love that you guys really care. That's good. That's good to me, because you're showing me that some people still give a damn, and that's what I care about, to prove those naysayers wrong. So that's good. Good to see that. And I think what I'll add to that is I've always said this, and this is a controversial take that most people will probably see. If you think going to college means just getting your degree and that's it, then you didn't do your job. And here's what I mean by that. If there's no mental growth happening within you at the time that you are there, and so if you're the same person that went in and you came out the same, that's not good. There needs to be a change within you. And I don't want to confuse y'all, but not y'all, the people who are listening. You're gonna know within your second to third, not your third, just within your second year, how much you've changed. How do you think now? How perspectives, how your perspective is, and what do you think on philosophy, things of this, how you're gonna come at a certain problem, things like that. All that changes when you're in college. I had that done to me within 3 years, and trust me, I was not the same guy. I was not the same cocky little bastard I was when I went inside. I came out more mellow, but the thing is, I came out more understanding and more humble to understand, like, there were things that I know now that I didn't know before. And I said this to myself, there are things I could not have possibly known had I not gone to college, at least. Because, like I said, because it wasn't a waste of my time. And like I said, I got banged around for one good year with bombarded with a bunch of projects and homework, but I still passed regardless of anything. Still passed regardless. And you need those experience with other people. And I'm gonna tell you this: college doesn't force you to stay in. College actually teaches you social skills. That's one thing that I came out learning. Yeah, you go to college for social skills and also to improve and improve on things that you were probably not good at that you're good at now. Like it's your strength now. So I do want to add that little tidbit. And with that being said, you guys can find me at my channel, Jay Takashi. We do anime, we do topics, particularly over there. And we have a new channel with me, Wally, and Marcus. And it's called it's a Takashi Show. And that's where we do interviews, we do talk about sports, we talk about topics, anything worthy of notice. This is a good topic I think I'd like to have again with when it pertains to college, with you guys particularly. And and like I said, guys, I love the advice everybody gave all around today. This was really good, and the energy and atmosphere was good. No hate, no hatred, no animosity towards anybody. That's the main thing. And I'm like, at least I don't have to like not like have a fake smile on. So I appreciate that by everybody. Everybody here is educated. But with that being said, y'all, everybody have a good night. And hey, listen, plan out your future. Because if I did things differently, hey, I'd probably be there a lot sooner. But hey, better now than ever, particularly for me.
Great advice, man. It's never too late, and I'm glad, like you mentioned, start whenever. Network with anybody. That's one of the things I had to do is just start reaching out. Like Amazing was saying, man, just don't be scared to ask for help and start asking people. Like if I saw somebody with like a nice car and I saw him dressed professional, I'll go up and talk to him. I was like, man, look, what do you do? You'd be surprised. People love giving information. So I mean, just tap into people because there's, like Amazing was saying, there's so many jobs that they pay for school and stuff that they're flexible with like college work hours. So you don't have to take the old traditional route to staying in school where, you get somebody, you're building up that experience and you're also, getting somebody to pay down your school. So like the government got all kind of stuff and, all kind of industries kind of do those things now. And there's also like, we talked about the Western Governors University that, got cheaper programs and stuff. So it's just like, man, you ain't got to go in like serious debt because you got to pay that money back. So I think sometimes people don't realize that. So it's just like, man, use multiple approaches. So that's why we kind of try to have these topics. So yeah, we'll have some more. And definitely, Jay, if you have any like topics, man, reach out to us. I'll definitely pull up on y'all. Can't wait till y'all start dropping them shows and stuff.
Yeah, definitely, man. Like I said, to everybody out there, like I said, plan out your future and talk to people outside your circle. You'll be surprised. I went to a private college and nobody had any animosity towards anybody except one person I will not speak to. Hopefully she falls off a cliff. But yeah. I'm sorry. She was such a, don't use that term, but to Amazing, she was terrible. She was a terrible person.
Yeah.
But everybody else that I met, particularly, it was amazing. I don't want to hold up the show any longer, but like guys, get out your bubble and actually speak to people. I want to end it right there. That's why I said I wish I came in earlier. Yeah, right.
I'm glad when you came in when you did. But all right, we'll go ahead and close this out. But peace. See y'all next week. Bye.